Ladies and gentlemen, this is part 2 of the September 15th, 2019 edition of the John Sunlight Show. On to state news. Well, here we are again with another retarded law that can only come from the socialist state of California. Now they think they can force the NCAA to allow student athletes to get paid. What the hell is this insanity? How can they force a change in a business that has been going on for almost 200 years? The NCAA has thankfully said that if the state actually enforces this nonsense, that any school that goes for this insanity will be banned from having any chance for a national title. Good for them. I wonder how the colleges here in the state of California will feel when they have no shot at any championship. The main problem with this insanity is that a lot of college athletes actually do get paid. It's called a scholarship, being able to get a college education for nothing, off of the backs of the taxpayers. Also, you get an education. Do these kids even understand how lucky it is to get a college education when so many kids around the world don't even get that opportunity? Plus, they get publicity for being on television, which will help them later on in life in whatever career they choose. Instead of being greedy, these kids need to appreciate what they have, seeing how most people in the world will never have the opportunities that they get. On to This Week in U.S. History. On September 8, 1937, Archie Goodwin was born. He is was a writer of the Fantastic Four, Detective Comics, Iron Man, Manhunter, and various Batman comic books. On September 8, 1964, Raven, a former professional wrestler, was born. He is a former 2-time ECW World Champion, 4-time ECW Tag Team Champion, a former NWA World, WCW US, and WCW Tag Team Champion. On September 9, 1850, California was admitted as the 31st state in the Union. The capital of California is Sacramento, and its first governor was Peter Burnett. On September 9, 1890, Colonel Sanders was born. You know Colonel Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken? On September 10, 1949, Don Muraco was born. He's a former 2-time WWF Intercontinental Champion, a former King of the Ring, and a former 2-time ECW World Champion. On September 11th, 2001, as everybody knows because we just celebrated the anniversary of it, 9/11 happened, where almost 3,000 people died because of the evil Muslim terrorists. That's kind of a misnomer, Muslim and terrorists. It's the exact same thing. But where Muslim terrorists flew 2 airplanes into the World Trade Center towers, and also one into the Pentagon, and one that was, odds are, going to the White House, where heroic people crashed that one into the fields. On September 12, 1818, Richard Gatling was born, the inventor of the Gatling gun. And finally, on September 12, 1897, Walter B. Gibson was born. Walter B. Gibson is the creator and writer of the Shadow pulp novels back in the early 1920s and 30s. And even well into the 40s, I might add. On to national news. On Thursday, the Democrats had their third debate to see who would run against Donald Trump in the 2020 primary election for president. As always, these traitors to the cause of freedom, with their continuous march towards socialism, if it's not giving the people free things like, health care and free schooling while paying for it from stealing it from other people, then it's more of this global warming garbage where humans are the worst things that live on this planet. The real surprise, though, is that the Democrat, Beto O'Rourke, finally admitted that what the Republicans have been saying about the Democrats for years. They want to take our guns. I want to tell everybody out there that this is the reason we need to vote. We cannot allow these kind of people in charge of our country. I also want to say that every citizen who isn't a felon needs to arm themselves and get as much ammunition to protect yourselves as you possibly can. Because the time may come soon when the government comes to attempt to take your right to defend yourselves away from you. And when that happens, the government can do anything that they want. On to my random thought. As the anniversary of 9/11 has come and gone, I continue to wonder why nothing much has changed. Did you know that since these attacks, that hundreds of thousands of people have died from attacks by the people who follow the terrorist Muslim faith? And yet, we still allow it to continue. But Mr. Sunlight, what can we do about it? Well, the first thing we need to do is formally announce that the Muslim faith is a terrorist organization. The second thing we need to do is close all of the mosques in the United States. These places are nothing but training grounds for these evil people, and they continue to preach their hate for the Western world. The third and final thing we need to do is nuke the Muslim countries. Because if we actually destroy our enemies, they won't be able to attack us. It's sad that 20 years later, we still have to put up with this garbage. Hopefully soon, we will have a government that will actually protect us, instead of capitulating to our enemies like Europe did to Hitler. This is the end of part 2 of the September 15th, 2019 edition of the John Sunlight Show. Tune into part 3 coming up next.